Hi Maggie. I'm going to try and do this lessons, science, using YouTube, and I'm not going to edit. So this is a psychology book. Obviously that's backwards. I'm going to read you some of it. It's a college level psychology book. Let's see. Methods of psychology. I'm skipping to everything I highlighted in college. Psychologists go about the process of accumulating their knowledge about human behavior. We need to look more closely at the methods they use. Although psychological researchers may derive important insights from their personal experience, such experiences are likely to be casual and sketchy, and to be based on rather small and unsystematic body of evidence. Our own experiences are also likely to be colored by our motives and moods. So what one person sees in a particular situation may be quite different from what another person sees. If you've ever felt that way, you and your mom have the same experience, but you both perceive it totally differently. Depending on how you feel about yourself and what sort of mood you are in, for example, you may interpret the expression on another person's face as either friendly or puzzled or hostile. In contrast, psychologists strive to study behavior in ways that is systematic or based on thorough and well-organized search for the facts, and objective or based on careful observations that different observers can agree upon, rather than on one's personal intuitions. In their efforts to gather systematic and objective information, psychologists may use a wide variety of methods. No single method, such as a laboratory experiment or a nationwide survey, is the best method. Not one single method is the best method, so there can be multiple ways to do this. For psychological research, any more than a hammer is the best tool for the carpenter, or a putter is the best club for the golfer. The particular method, this is highlighted, I didn't just read my highlighted things. The particular method a researcher chooses will depend upon the nature of the problem. So you can do scientific research, some of your experiments for psychology you can do, and we'll create an integrative science course. Now you don't need to watch me during this video, you can just listen to me if you're walking around the store listening. The methods that previous researchers have used. Okay, sorry, let me start that sentence again. The particular method a researcher chooses will depend upon the nature of the problem, the method that a previous researcher may have used, and the researcher's own personal tastes and preferences for types of research. Here, we will consider some of the most commonly used methods of psychological researchers. Okay, whom do psychologists observe? The psychologist's business is to make systematic observations of behavior, but no psychologist can study everyone's behavior. Instead, the researcher will choose a sample of people to study, like a geologist will choose a sample of the composition of the moon to analyze small sample rocks. The psychologist attempts to discover the principles of human behavior by studying a small but representative sample of humans. In some cases, the nature of the psychologist's sample is dictated by the problem that the psychologist is studying. If the researcher is interested in alcoholism, he will study samples of alcoholics, and preferably a sample that reflects as closely as possible to the characteristics of alcoholics more generally. Similarly, a psychologist interested in child development will study children. One interested in mental illness will study people who suffer from mental disorders, or psychological disorders, it says here. The psychologist's choice of a sample of subjects is also likely to be dictated by convenience. By one count, fully 80% of psychological research with humans has made use of college students as subjects. Now, my dad was a psychologist, and he used me as a subject, and his children and college students used us also as subjects. One test they did on us, which is something maybe you could do as an experiment. I have this little thing, I just have to find it. It's called a GSR. It's a galvanic skin response test, and it shows, I wonder if my thing stopped recording. It just didn't like that I moved.